we know about him being a writer. We know that he wrote across genres, but a lot of people don't know necessarily a lot about his prayer life. He did write about prayer, of course, but I found a book written some time ago. I don't remember how many years now at the top of my head, but it talked about his prayer life. What was his prayer life like?
Well, you've got Letters to Malcolm chiefly on prayer,
Right.
and it's basically his sequel to Screw Tape Letters. So
Hmm.
Screw Tape Letters is one half of a correspondence between one demon and another demon talking about how to tempt somebody. When he wrote that book, he said in the preface to the second edition, his goal was to write a second book, one angel writing to another angel on how to elevate and encourage somebody, nudge them towards sanctification. Lewis said, who could ever write the second book? We're all closer to the diabolical than we are to the divine.
Hmm.
So, in a less pretentious way, one of the last two books he wrote before he died is this Letters to Malcolm, chiefly on prayer. And it's one side of a correspondence, fiction correspondence, of a friend writing to another friend on how to encourage him in the Christian faith. It's not angelic, it's human.
Mhm.
So that's a significant book. And he writes a lot about prayer there. He writes about prayer too in Reflections on the Psalms, a book that he does. It's the only thing close to a commentary by C.S. Lewis. But the Psalms, many of them are prayers. They're poems and they're prayers.
Mhm.
And so he um, gives comment about prayer in those books. But he's got other essays too. The problem of petitionary prayer. He's got a bunch of essays on this as well. And there probably are books out about Lewis's prayer life. There's certainly books about his devotional life. And there's one by Lyle Dorset, Seeking God in the Secret Place. And it's about Lewis's prayer life as well. And Lyle's a very reliable C.S. Lewis scholar. So, so those are different places where you could go. But basically, Lewis he maintained his private life. He read in the scriptures every day. He would get up early in the morning and read in the scriptures. He'd spend time in prayer. And then he would go on Addison's Walk, which is a walk behind Magdalen College, and he would say his prayers while he was walking. Then he'd go to chapel, morning chapel at Magdalen College, and then he'd go to breakfast, and then he'd start his work day. But he was up every morning, and he would read the King James Version. He read Moffat's translation, and then he would he read in his Greek Bible every day as well.
Hmm.
So the personal devotional life of Lewis was something very central to his life. I mean, he had unique gifts. All of us can do the devotion thing and grow by virtue of it. I don't think all of us have a photographic memory like Lewis had and so on. I mean,
Hmm.
he marshaled his gifts for kingdom purposes. We could see a model in that, whatever your gifts are, to marshal them also for kingdom purposes. But Lewis was pretty diligent about that. He also said though that he sometimes prayed visually.
Hmm.
So he didn't necessarily use words. He would pray for people by imagining their face. Maybe it was a waitress at a restaurant where he was at, and he would imagine her face and be praying for her imaginatively. And I don't know exactly how he did it, but he writes about this, and it's interesting. He had his habits and was faithful. He had long lists, though. He would pray for a person he met on a train. He would pray for a student. He would pray. It was a big part of his life, but it was something that seemed to be ongoing throughout his day.